My name is Manisha Lewis Cole, graduate student at Elizabeth City State University, and today I bring to you the ancient civilization of the Aztecs. The Aztecs, which was a civilization of Mexico, they were a powerful, dominant, and highly skilled and diverse population. We're going to talk a little bit about their origins, where they had a triple alliance here in what we call central Mexico. They were the Aztec Empire. The capital city of Tenochtitlan was founded around 1325 in this area here on the map. Tenochtitlan was known mostly for their warlike activities, where they would conquer many of the surrounding areas. And the good part about their conquering was they didn't conquer to defeat and take over. They conquered to make their population more diverse. They would put a leader in place, and then they would build this great city. And as you can see, their landscape, and they found this on a marshy land. It was rumored that one of their gods had sent a eagle, and the eagle landed on a cactus. The eagle's landing was a sign from the gods to tell them to build this capital city of Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan was a flourishing city that had agriculture, science, mathematics, calendars, and many things that I'm going to share with you today. The first thing that we're going to present is the Aztec number system. The Aztec number system was on a 20 base system. They would use dots and bars for numbers 1 through 19. The dots represented 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when they got to 5, you see they started to begin to use bars. When they needed to go to numbers like 6, 7, 8, and 9, you see that they combined the bars with the dots. The bar and a dot represented 6. If you wanted to represent 17, 3 bars was 15, plus two dots, which gave you the number 17. So as we stated, they were a base of 20. So when they got to 20, they used this banner-like flag to represent the 20. When they wanted 400, they began to use this leaf-like feather. When they wanted to represent 8,000, they would use this, they called it an incense bag, the incense bag. And the neat thing about this number system was they also had arrows, hand symbols, and hearts to represent their fractions. Unlike what we use today in our society, where if we're trying to do measurements or surveying of land, we would just go to our regular number system, multiply it, and use an algorithm like length times width to find the area. Well, in their time, they didn't use like units. What they used were something they call rods. And one rod was equal to a telenquatil. Now, this is their native language and is still used today, so some of these words are a little difficult to pronounce, but the math is still the same. For instance, if you had an area that was 20 rods by 15 rods and 1 heart, they were talking about the fractional pieces when they used the arrows, the hands, and the hearts. So 20 rods by 15 rods and 1 heart was basically our area formula for 20 times 15 and a half, which would give us an area of 310. So, like today, surveyors go out, survey the land. They also use very similar mathematical algorithms. The difference is their area, which we're talking about right here, they had hills and mountains and marshy land. So it was not as easy for them to survey a land as we have today with our modern technology, but they were a great society. Now, when we talk about the mathematics, the number system was originally originated for taxation purposes by the king. When you owed taxes, they would calculate using this number system. So let's look at some Aztec math. Aztec math, basically, if they wanted to use the number, I don't know, let's guess. Let's say 400, they would draw a feather. But let's just say it was 425. You would have a feather, you would have a flag, and then you would have a bar to represent the number 425. But then there were also, let's say 200. Instead of using, say, 10 flags, for the number 200, they would just use the feather, but they would only color in half of the feather. Now, when we got to large numbers like 8,000, we said that it would be the medicine bag. So therefore, we wouldn't do 400 times 20 of these. They would just go ahead and draw the medicine bag. The math is pretty interesting. For instance, what would this number be? Remember, a flag is 20, so that's 20, 40. The bar is 5, 45, 46, 47, 48. So this number would be equal to 48. The Aztecs used this again for taxation purposes in the great city of Tenochtitlan. The king was very dominant. Not only did they have great landscaping and mathematical systems, they also kept dates and used it for different festivals when they were doing the calendar. The calendar consisted of many calendars, but this one right here was the most sacred. This was the most sacred of all the calendars. The reason why this was the most sacred of all the calendars was because it consisted of the 20 gods. The 20 gods would always be represented by each day. The 20 gods was represented by each day, and there was also a central part of the calendar that had numbers 1 through 13. And these numbers would make up the week for the calendar. So a week consisted of 13 days with each of these gods. And each of these gods represented a different ceremony or festival for that month. At the end of the 52 year, when these two would line up together, they would have a human sacrifice. So unlike us, when our birthdays come around, we have our ceremonies and our festivals just like them. But at the end of their calendar year, we celebrate what we call a new year. They celebrate it by having a human sacrifice to honor the gods. So we have the Aztec calendar, we have their surveying, their number system, and their great society where they were warlike conquerors. And although when you look at this, there are some pros and there are definitely some cons, but overall the Aztec civilization gave us a great contribution to our mathematics today. They were some of the first to use their number system, and I believe that they probably used it on a base of 20 because of their 10 fingers and their 10 toes. These symbols, they may have gotten a little convoluted when you're trying to do it. So, of course, our number system is much easier, especially if you're trying to do some type of algorithm with a large mathematical system, because they did not, although there's a picture here for 0, they did not have a concept of the number 0. So again, I bring to you the Aztec civilization. They were Mesoamerican people, and they are located today in what we call Mexico City. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Have a great day.